If you played any cookie run games for long enough, surely one question comes to mind. Are these even edible? And that is exactly what this video aims to answer, because a simple YouTube search won't give me any proper answers. A little note, I'll be only covering oven break cookies, so if you are so desperate for a rating of Kingdom cookies, leave a comment. I will be going from most obviously edible to somewhat questionable to dangerous, do not eat. But within each category, I won't be following any particular order, but I will try to keep it as interesting as possible. Also, I'm putting all the legendaries at the very end, just because. And in order to judge each cookie's edibility, I'll be referencing their real-life inspirations, their stories, and, if needed, some elements of their design. First, there are 13 cookies that are based on various drinks. Among these, there's Devil Cookie, who I actually wasn't too sure about since their story only mentions them tasting like cola and not that they're made of cola. But surely there shouldn't be any issues, right? Next, the amount of cookies that are just vegetables, fruits, plants is actually surprising at 59. In this group, there's Rebel, who's made with rice. The final notable member of this group is Fairy. According to her story, she has the least calories and the highest fiber content. Additionally, she can also produce oxygen. This very much implies that she's plant-based or plant-like and presumably edible? I guess that depends on your interpretation of healthy. Next, we've got the pastries, desserts, or anything that has a sugar content. First, there are a total of 9 different Choco cookies, 10 if you count Chess Choco as 2 separate cookies. Besides that though, I'll try to speed through the rest because this group is actually quite massive. Angel, surprisingly, doesn't have any ingredients listed, but it'd be kinda weird if they're not safe to eat. Astronaut, based on astronaut ice cream. Cookie Malls is actually 3 individual cookies, Choco Ring Lion, Buttershell Fox, and Maple Panda, who all seems to be made of edible stuff. Cream Unicorn. Their story only states vaguely that they're made of something creamy, which I guess should be edible. Dino Sour, who's just sour jellies. Ice Candy, she's made of a xylitol coating and mint filling. Ice Juggler, she could be either ice cream or Dippin' Dots. Kumiho, her fox form is actually marshmallow, so presumably that's what her cookie form is as well. Moon Rabbit is based on a type of rice cake, specifically Songpyeon. Pilot, hi, editor me here. So it turns out I made a mistake in the script and assumed that Pilot Cookie is made from butterscotch. His story only says that he enjoys butterscotch. This is another cocoa cookie situation where I assumed the same applies, but his story only mentions that he's made from brown sugar and butter. Regardless, it does not change his standing in this list, but I feel like I should point it out in case any misunderstanding were to happen. Anyways, back to the video. Vagabond, whose Japanese name actually reveals that he's based on a dessert called Mijapwa. Yoga is just pretzel. Lastly, for the edible category are just randoms that I couldn't fit into the above categories. Butter Bear. According to his story, he was made from butter melted whole with soft creamy toppings. Centipede and scorpion are both just types of bugs and people actually eat these. Same can be said to electric eel. Eels are edible and so are electric eels, but they're not very good because apparently they're very bony and provide very little sustenance. Hero Cookie at first gives off a lot of mixed signals. Firstly, his magic candy ingredient is mint, his superhero suit is caramel syrup, and his design is giving just a basic, boring gingerbread, but nerdier. But all the above sounds pretty safe for consumption to me. Cheerleader is made from fresh lemon juice and mints. Captain Ice is a bit of a complicated case. In lore, she's made with never melting ice, which is not a real thing. There is this ice, IRL, that supposedly never melts, but it's made of stainless steel. And visually, that's definitely not what Captain Ice is. So for the sake of it, if this ice is just like our regular ice, then it's totally fine to eat. Probably won't taste very good though. pirate cookie's list of ingredients includes seaweed from the roughest, deepest ocean, dried, powdered, and added with some wine or rum. Okay, doesn't sound very good, but it's edible. That leaves us with flat tofu, melon sauce, mustard, pizza, popcorn, prophet, roquefort, s'more, salt, sandwich, sauna egg, squid ink, starch noodle, truffle, and werewolf, who's made of pepper. Now that all the edible ones are out of the way, the following are some cookies that I wasn't really sure enough to say that they're clearly edible or not. Carol cookie. From her design and her affection jelly, I'm 99% sure that she's just a Christmas tree. However, I wouldn't be so quick to say that she's totally inedible since that one food theory episode exists. But I'm sure consuming a tree of any sort is not really on most people's list. Or she could just be a cookie shaped like a Christmas tree. There's actually no source I could find that would indicate Adventure Cookie's main ingredient, but his magic candy ingredient is called Baumkuchen rope. Baumkuchen is a kind of dessert. Although magic candy ingredients have close connections to individual cookies, there's not really any concrete confirmations that I could find, so I'm putting him here. DJ is another no ingredients cookie, but from their general appearance, their pet, and their magic candy ingredient being a jelly bean, it's likely that DJ Cookie could be jelly bean cookie. But their hair also resembles sour belts somewhat, likely edible. For Dr. Bones, there's absolutely no way that this dude is made from actual bones. From their affection jelly to their connection to Ghost City, this place that you can visit in Cookie Run Kingdom, which is filled with ice cream ghouls, it's likely that Dr. Bones is made from ice cream. Surprisingly, there's no actual explicit list of ingredients for Princess Cookie, but from her affection jelly design, she could be based on a bunch of those, I don't know what they're called, but likely edible. Skating Queen being stated as having been baked from top quality ingredients does not tell me whether or not she's an edible cookie. The answer is highly likely to be yes, but I'm a skeptic. It would have been so easy to put snow sugar into the edible category had there not been a mention of a secret ingredient in their story. Night Cookie's armor is actually stated to be chocolate, which is edible, but I'm not sure if his armor is attached to his body, so who knows? Skater, Special Force, Ninja, and Rockstar are all cookies with no actual ingredients listed, and when looking at their design, I can't think of anything, so I don't know. We don't actually know what Cyborg's original ingredients were, that's their whole thing, but as it stands, I wouldn't say that mechanical parts are very digestible. Ion Cookie Robot is another case of Cyborg, sort of. You see, this one is a robot and not a cookie. It is powered by ion drinks, but since we don't know if the actual body is edible, this one's staying in the unknown zone. Lastly in this category is Pond Dino. Oh boy. So the problem here starts with the fact that Pond Dino is a cross between a cookie and a dragon. Or I guess a dinosaur in this case. And they were born from an egg, which means they are not baked. While yes, the cookie part is edible, but the dino part I'm not so sure about. I mean, in this case, I'd have to consider whether or not the dragons or the dinosaurs are edible. The answer would be yes if everything in this world is edible, but that's not confirmed in any way. Looking at this from a different angle, however, Pond Dino's ability generates forget-me-not jellies. Forget-me-nots are these flowers, and they are totally edible. And second to last is the do not eat category. First, we've got Blue Lily. Apparently, all plants within the lily family are dangerously toxic. Even for the lilies that don't belong in this family, they are also very much poisonous. And much like Blue Lily, Lilybell is based on the lily of the valley, which is also highly poisonous. Hi, editor, me here back again. So it turns out while doing research for the script, I came across that one article that I just showed you. that said that lilies are very much toxic and poisonous. But as I'm editing the video right now, I tried to look it up again, but that was not the first result I received. But in fact, it said that blue lilies aren't very much toxic. While they can cause slight stomach discomfort, they are still edible. And as I looked deeper, it turns out that a lot of lilies are very much edible. So, mistake on my part. Does this mean blue lily should have been moved up a category? Well, not really, since I'm very much uncertain and I'm not an expert in this field. Also, blue lily's name was originally orchid cookie. That's still her name in Korean and that's not been changed. But orchids are very much edible. So yeah, my bad. It's only a mistake with blue lily though. Lilybell, based on the lily of the valley, those definitely are very much dangerous for consumption, so do not eat those. Anyways, back to the video again. Sorry. Candlelight. I probably don't need to tell you this, but candles are not safe for consumption. Although people have made edible candles, candlelight was made from the standard candle wax, which are not edible. So you're probably getting tired of hearing my voice, and honestly, I was probably quite tired when writing this part of the script as well, because you may have noticed a second part of the screenshot that I'm showing you right now, and it says beeswax. And yes, beeswax can be made into candles, but the thing that frustrates me the most is the fact that it is not stated whether or not the candle wax and the beeswax that's mentioned here are the same thing. So I don't even know what's going on anymore. I just want to get this video done. I really didn't want to make it this long. Firecracker. Now I know they're very colorful, but you can't eat confetti ribbons. Quote from Goblin Cookie's story. Goblin Cookie was made with unripe sugar apples, peel seed, and stale dough. I think that's enough to say that you will likely die from food poisoning should you attempt to eat this cookie. Hydrangea, another plant that is not edible. Need I say more? I'm no expert, but I'm sure effects may vary from hallucinations to outright death. Shining glitter. No. Well, yes, edible glitter are a thing. Even most non-toxic glitters aren't recommended for consumption, and we don't actually know what type of glitter shining glitter is actually made out of. White Ghost. Firstly, her design is based on the white ghost cactus, which can be mildly poisonous. But even ignoring what I just said, I mean, come on, she's a ghost. And the last time I checked, they're not consumable. Zombie cookie is underbaked. That probably won't result in a good cookie, especially if there are zombie cells in that dough. Okay, lastly for real, the Legendaries. Xylitol Nova, yes, definitely. Sugar Swan, maybe. If the only ingredient is sugar, then sure. Abyss Monarch, probably not, considering you wouldn't want to be consumed by the darkness or something. Dark Enchantress is definitely a no-no, because she's made of poisonous pomegranate syrup. Now, Sea Fairy Cookie might just be salt water or soda, because that's the equivalent of salt water in this universe. The Fire Spirit. I doubt it's even possible to get anywhere near him, let alone attempting to eat this cookie. For Wind Archer and Moonlight, I actually have no idea, because from both of their stories, it only infers that their creation had some element of magic, and that does not tell me whether or not they're edible. Millennial Tree. Looking at Millennial Tree's design, surely you'll think what I'm thinking, right? No matter what type of tree we're talking about here, I don't think anyone would want to eat the bark of these trees. For Timekeeper Cookie, is this a spoiler? Just for the sake of it, I'm not gonna explain it because it involves some spoilery stuff. Anyways, lastly, we've got the dragons. Well, 4 of them are fruits, so yes. And lotus is also a yes. Most of the lotus plant is actually edible, so yes. And that's the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed, you've learned something new, and I guess I'll see you later. Bye-bye!